2 or 876-317-1991. Don't be left out. Promote your business on Fit FM Business Ball Out.
Are you struggling with loneliness? Feeling depressed? Are you searching for a purpose to live? Are you ready to tap into your inner greatness? Ready to soar to your full potential? Come and be inspired. Join me, Dr. Asha Mwendo, on Healing Moment inside Gospel and Soul every Wednesday, 6 p.m., where we will help you to understand your purpose. We will help you to find your wind. We'll show you how to open your wings and fly. Healing Moments, Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music. Good evening, my people. How are you this evening? This is your girl, Dr. Asha Mwendo, and you're listening to Healing Moments on Fit FM 96.7. As usual, we want to be a part of the conversation, so we're asking you to send your messages to 876-478-9144 or 876-513-668. Remember now, Healing Moments, join the call for elimination of violence against our women and our girls. This evening, we have an awesome program lined up for you with my guest, Miss Maggie Wilmot, Claudette Wilmot, and we'll be giving you some very interesting information. But you know the drill. Before we get to that already, you're going to get your pen, get your sip, call a friend, and listen to this bit of music until we come right back.
For God to love the word that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believed in him should not perish, but have everlasting life in that. And that to me is beautiful. Yeah. Oh, if it wasn't for your word, I would never change, never be the same, never be the same. Never be the same. I wouldn't even go to church, and I would never praise. Never be the same. Never be the same. Despite all I've done, you still made something beautiful. Something beautiful. If it wasn't for your grace, I wouldn't know what is beautiful. What is? I just want to see your face. How much you mean to me. Something beautiful. And even when it rains, let it rain down on me. Something beautiful. Oh, thank you for the air that I breathe. Oh, despite all I've done, you still made something beautiful. Something beautiful. He without sin cast the first stone. And he without love is a bag of bone. And he's the one who sits on the throne. He looks down and sees when you're all alone. All alone. And all those mistakes you made, broken hearted from through the ups and downs, he still made something beautiful, something beautiful. Oh, oh. You can't give up right now. Faith is the weapon, it's the power. And oh, I need him every minute, every hour. Oh, it's making something great.
Good evening. Welcome back to Healing Moments on Fit FM 96.7. Yes, this evening we have an interesting program lineup for you, and we are hoping that I can remember everything to tell you. My computer is acting up, but that's part of life. While I talk with you, I'll try to see if I can fix it. So some of the things we want to talk about this evening on Let's Talk. We are presently doing our back to school, and we want to thank the persons who have reached out and have helped. Without you, we could not have already helped 187 children. We have a few more to go, and we are trying to help them. These may be just back to school children, but we want them to go back to school in fine style. The persons were asking me, so what happened to them parents? Hello, the children are here. We know how them come already, so let's not ask these questions. Let's not punish the children for the mistakes of the parents. And fathers who are not stepping up to the game, please step up to the game, man. They are your children. There's not a child that is born upon the face of this earth that was hatched from an egg. Is a man and a woman that came together and produced them. And none of God's children are accidental children. They are here because you did what you did, and by God's permissive or directive will, they are here. They are to be loved. And we want to break the cycle of crime over Jamaica. We want to break poverty over Jamaica. We have to invest in our children. So we are asking you to please partner with us to take care of our children. As usual, we are still continuing to call for assistance from my own children. And guess what? I need 4 tins of paint to help to spruce up a classroom that it can look really lovely for our children. I will only tell the name of the school to the persons who are going to donate the paint. So we need 2 tins of yellow, 2 tins of blue. However, we need 1 emulsion, 1 oil paint of each, yellow or blue. We're asking you to partner with us to assist a teacher to help her classroom to look well for the children as they come back to school. And this is a grade 2 classroom. So, our little ones need nice environment in which to learn. So please partner with us. In anything you can donate, I am glad to receive. I do not advertise the people who I support, but if I get a sponsor on board who wants to sponsor someone, I would like to know who he or she is sponsoring, then I do that part. However, in helping our children, I believe we leave them the right to their stories to tell it as they grow. And one of the things I admire is that the families that we invest in our program, most of these families, it don't only help the children who are going to school based on how we do our program, but the entire family is enriched for it. Parents get up and start to find other ways of survival because we teach them how and we guide them. So it's not a handout thing we do. It's a hand up for life. The children we take under our wings, we don't give them bags and books and pencils and send them on their way and car keys. We work with them for the entire school year. So we guide them, we support them, we listen to their challenges, and we support the entire family as we move forward. So that is how our program works. If you want to partner with us, please reach out to me at 876-870-2284, or you can find me on Facebook, Dr. Asha Mwendo, and we can continue the conversation. I must also let you know that all my programs going forward that are aired on Fit FM 96.7 on Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. are also aired on Fresh FM out of London 10:30 p.m. Monday evenings. So persons who support us and would like me to big you up online, because some most persons don't want anybody to know that they give, that they don't get a bum rush. But if you are someone who and you have a business, you support Fit FM by doing your ads with us, and of course your business will be broadcasted all the way in London, although it is already doing so, but it will be on air directly from one of the stations there. So partnering with Fit FM and Healing Moments is a good thing to do, right? That is what I will do for Let's Talk this evening. And I had so many rants and raves in my head, and I'm not going to do not even one. Because there's one I really want to talk about, but I'm going to let that stay for a little bit longer because of the way I want to do it. I must also let you know that the Neighborhood Watch Movement will be having their general meeting in Portland this weekend, Saturday the 19th, starting at 10 a.m. at the Port Antonio Police Station Conference Room. And all are invited to come out and plan with us as we try to move forward. So I'm looking forward to you coming on as well. And so this evening I have an awesome guest. Good evening, Miss Maggie. How are you doing? Lady Maggie, please unmute your mic.
I'm sorry. I'm saying it's good to be here with you.
Are you hearing us, Lady Maggie?
I am. I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Okay. So it's good to have you. It's my bad, girl. I've not put on my headset and I've started the program.
Yes.
So I will hear you in a few minutes.
Yes.
I'm here talking away and hearing nothing. So, yes, Lady Maggie, how are you doing this evening?
I am good. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Asha. Good to be here.
Right. And it's good to have you, girl. We have been doing so many things. Not true? You know,
yes.
One of the things I like about my life, and Claudette Wilmot is just the same thing. We have our hands in many pies, but all the pies we have our hands in is for development of our nation and our people. So before we go into why we are here, just tell the people. Go ahead and tell the people a little bit about who you are.
Okay. Well, Claudette Wilmot. I'm a mother. A mother of 5 children. My husband and I met in college because I also like education. I've never really left school.
Okay.
Sound funny? I was born in Spanish Town in a little village called Demchapen, right along the banks of the Rio Grande. So I like the song that I was born on a river in a little bitty town, you know. And it's interesting when you're born in a small town. And something significant about my birth is that I was delivered by my grandmother at home. She was a midwife, but not institution trained. So we'd say she would have been a nana, and her mother before her, and her mother before her. So there's that healing going on in my family, you know. And so when my granddaughter was born, they didn't cut the umbilical cord. They placed the baby on the breast, and mine wasn't cut. When I was talking about that to my father, he described my birth, my home birth. And I was able to be a part of the birth of one of my grandchildren, because I'm talking about connections and life. So I'm from Spanish Town. I'm a humanitarian. I'm a social worker. I went to St. Catherine Demshapen Basic School, St. Catherine Primary and High School, the Jamaica School of Agriculture, the Michael Teachers College, University of the West Indies, and presently I am part-time lecturing at UTech, as well as doing all my humanitarian work, whether it's cross culture with Africa or what I'm doing here in Jamaica, whether it's for persons with disability or we're looking at parenting or it's disaster issues in the community where I live, where I'm very active in the CDC, or it might be something in the region around disability where I'm also on the steering committee for the Caribbean CBR Community Based Rehab Network, because I'm very much an advocate for community-based rehab where people with disability can get services in their communities. And I'm also an advocate for community-based inclusive development, wherein we are enabling a society where everyone can get access to services. And so I am an advocate for disability. Although the Disability Act has been passed, there's so much more that needs to be done, even in terms that Jamaica needs
So
to
much.
have
Yeah.
something on, just as how America have the Individual with Disabilities Education Act, Jamaica needs something like that also, so we can tap into the potential of our youths. I am, as I say, I'm all over the place. I have worked in, I've worked with NGOs, I've worked with government, I have done parent trainings. I was part of the New Horizons for Primary School team that went out and trained parents to teach other parents and to empower schools. I was part of the Coalition for Better Parenting, where we
Right.
developed the PSAT. I was part of the 3D projects where I did community-based rehab. I was training the community-based workers across Jamaica, and we even ventured into the Caribbean and went to a number of Caribbean islands and trained and built capacity under Molly Thorburn. So I was mentored by Dr. Molly Thorburn. And apart from the disabilities in surfing, I'm the secretary of surfing. I'm the only one who don't surf in the community of surfers, but I'm the secretary. I hold my thing. Um, I'm a humanitarian. I do believe in people. I've worked in the inner cities. I've worked uptown. I've worked all over the place. At the basic though, it's how we one relates. I'm a nationalist, so I don't vote for either party. Some people will say that it's irresponsible, and
Yes.
I should place my vote. But I prefer to work for the bigger picture, which is development. And so I endorse the concept of the Vision 2030 National Development Plan for Jamaica,
Amen.
although it needs to be a live, living document that people can see, because there have been a lot of things that have happened, but not we are not, the public doesn't know. So, what more can I say? I've been all
Right.
over the place working on standards. I remember you and I met in when I was working with persons living with HIV. I was actually working for doing something for 3D projects as a consultant. I'd left them by then,
Yes.
and it was called the Skills for Life, because when I was working with them, we had developed a program called Work Experience Program, where we it was a simple program. Me and this psychologist, Dr. Louise Malcolm, and we just use some generic things to teach them skills that they could then be placed in factories and farms and different working experiences with people to monitor them. And out of that, we realized that there is a need for sexual reproductive health, more HIV/AIDS information, and so we developed that
Yes.
packages. We broke barriers in terms of stigma and how you discuss these things with parents. We empowered persons with disability, taught them how to use condoms and to say no and all kind of stuff. Interesting stuff. And that's where we met when you were so
Yes.
involved in the parish AIDS committee and other things. We were on the CCM together in bringing together the civil society
Yes.
forum, and it goes
Mhm.
on and on and on. And as humanitarians, we recognize each other and we just click. So I mean, I could go on and on and on, but that's basically who I am. Who you see is what you get.
And we clicked. And we have
Yes,
had that interest.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
And so
So,
so we continue to do the work that empowers and inspire others to become their best selves,
yes.
which it leads us to where we are now. Again,
Mm-hmm.
and if you remember, we also did some work with the disabilities group as well.
Yes, we
So
did.
this led
We
us
did.
to where we are now as
Yes.
children of Jamaica, children of the diaspora, and
Mm,
children of our African content living in foreign lands. And
exactly.
so we are here now doing something new,
Yes,
but
we
not
are.
so new after all. We're just
No.
joining. I try these days not to use negative connotations because we're such a violent society. But for the want of a better word, we're joining the fight for
Yes.
transformation. We're joining the
Mm,
fight for bringing our people together. We're joining the
yes.
fight for the beauty of farming our lands to create
Mm-hmm.
wealth and education for our people. And we're also
Mm-hmm.
partnering with our continent, Africa,
Mm-hmm.
to do what
Mm-hmm.
we are doing.
Yes.
So, Lady Claudette, tell the people what we're talking about.
Okay. So what we are part of a humanitarian international movement that we are building cultural bridges
Yes.
between Africa and the Caribbean, because our roots, where we come from, the majority of us, well,
Mhm.
everybody goes back to Africa because Africa is the cradle of civilization. Even in Africa, there's a village there that they say the people speak Chinese,
Mhm.
the way the Chinese hat and they do and everything, and they're saying this is where the Chinese nation came from. So, but as diaspora, as people who were taken
Yes.
out, we have lost some things. We have lost,
Mhm.
we are not able to use our names,
Yes.
and someone from Africa will be able to tell you exactly where you're coming from and which family, and you're able to
Mhm.
link back to your culture like that.
Yeah.
But we do
Yes.
have an heritage, and we when we came on this side, we had to just find a way to survive. Out of that came a new language. We lost so many things because even how
Yes.
slavery happened, in how they put people from different tribes together, they mix and match so that you wouldn't be able to
Mhm.
communicate well. And so over time, we lost so many things and so many aspects of ourselves, especially our identity as to our link with the people, but not the link to the continent. So you find that sometimes when Jamaicans
No.
or people from the diaspora go to Africa, they have a problem. I know one man who went there for 40 years and came back and said, oh, they're all so tribal. But Africa is a country that's full of royalty and kingdoms, and it's a royal tradition. And they're
Yes.
just like over here, just like how you see the colonial monarchies that have their policies and their protocols and so on. All of that is still there. On the
Yes.
ground in Africa, the traditional ruler is king, in terms of you have to go through the traditional ruler to get decisions done. Even the politicians have to talk to them, although because of
Yes.
colonization, they no longer have power. So we find ourselves as Africans, whether you are in the Caribbean, we are Jamaicans too, born and bred with how many generations going back. Our blood and our toil are in the soil here. Some people no longer identify that they are part of Africa, and many persons in Africa are not identifying with us as part of Africa because we are not the diaspora that can send the money to the village, to the so and so, the way in which our people, our diaspora from all over will be supporting us here. But cultural bridges are
Right.
possible.
And so,
People
yes.
go ahead.
Yeah, so cultural business is possible. So now we are creating a cultural linkage between ourselves and our ancestral land, our
Yes.
nation. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want you now to tell a little bit about our organization, what it stands for,
Okay.
what we do, what it does and how
Okay.
people can become a part of it. So let's talk a little bit about JPHA, what it stands
Right.
for,
JPA
and what we
is
are about.
okay. JPA is Jah put a hand. So we're really blessing. You know, anything that Jah put a hand on is going to be blessed. And JPA, the idea for JPA
Yes.
started with a song that was a collaboration between a Trinidadian
Mm-hmm.
artist, an Indian girl who was told that what you doing singing reggae, an Indian girl, and a Jamaican
Mm-hmm.
artist. And the song was called Jah Put a Hand, and it was calling for the end of violence and suffering and poverty and war, and for Jah to put a hand on the sons and daughters and to bless them, you know, and to turn that all around. And that song got to the ear of Robert Mugabe, and he just embraced the message and promoted it in Africa, in his country. And so it took off. So there she was. Marlene Suratan, now Dr. Marlene, started off as a school teacher in Africa and a humanitarian. So not only does she have the song, but she started to
Yes.
work with other artists to become a publishing company, to become a promoter, to put on concerts. She did one
Mm-hmm.
concert in Harare where there were 3 million patrons. She started to work with farmers
Right.
and then to start to help them to find off takers, people to buy their goods. And by the time we met her, she was a teacher teaching people about social skills and how to live a better life and so on. So the message resonated with myself and with you and others like Barbara Morgan and Mr. Elliott and so on. It resonated as
Yes.
humanitarians, and we started to link with our brothers and sisters in different countries in Africa, in Ghana, in Uganda, in South Africa, in
Gosh.
Nigeria, in Congo, in
Yes.
Cameroon, in Senegal and Gambia, you name
Yes.
it.
We have been
All of us,
linking, girl.
yes, and all of a sudden we started to talk and we started to see similarities and we saw
Yes.
differences. We started to understand the culture.
Yes.
So when we look at a photograph and we see the African people in their garbs and so on, we know who is the traditional ruler, who is the so and so. We know all of these things, and even when things happen, because even recently something bad happened in Nigeria, and we heard about it, and it was that the herders and
Yes.
farmers were Muslims and Christians were at war, and it was the Christians who went on the farmers and slaughtered them. So much to say that mass graves had to be dug, families have been displaced. So JPA underground there, our JPA country director is Mr. Yashim JP. He's doing a fantastic job going out and trying to
Mm-hmm.
broker peace and bringing people together and even getting them to register for our humanitarian movement, where we want to change communities by helping communities to create individual plans. In Uganda, we have a Mr. Kowasi
Yes.
Hood. His family, they're into rice. And they have about 5 rice farms. They call it family rice farm, family rice. But he and his team of in Uganda on the ground went out and they realized that they had a problem with teenage pregnancy. There were 30,000 teenage births from teenage mothers every every month, and most of these were from rural girls, farm families, and these farm families make up how much is it? Almost almost 75%, 70 something percent of the labor force, and 95% have never had any training in agriculture. It's just learning, and then they're poor. So when
Right.
someone gets pregnant in a family like that and drop out of school, and the dropout rate across the board is like 46%. So it's like few and few as you go up the ladder, more children are tumbling off, tumbling off, tumbling off, tumbling off the ladder. So they have a big problem. So he put together some proposal because he also worked with other groups. There was some wash, water, and sanitation and hygiene program doing with other groups. They had a baby hamper thing where they taught the baby mothers how to make bags, and then they place things for the baby and the mothers, and they got those bags, so they were rewarded for learning a skill in how to do the bags and also to feel special, and they encouraged them to go to prenatal clinic because there's a lot of maternity death because of that those teenage pregnancy and all the issues that the family. So they put together a proposal, and JPA has not only the communities on ground, but internationally, we come together as the national directors and we look at things. And when we look at it from the national, international level, we saw where the proposals could be enhanced, and we worked on it for them, and we sent it in. And the Ministry of Education in Uganda endorsed the program to be rolled out, not in the small way that JPA Uganda wanted to do, but to roll out to all schools and school communities across Uganda. And we're talking about a population, Uganda population is large, or like almost more than about 40 million people. So when we are even talking to our people in Africa, we are talking about parishes, they wonder, what is that? And we have to kind of try to explain because in terms of distance and space and so on. But there are things that are common. The violence, the campaign in Uganda, the no to violence against women, no to violence against children, no to violence across the board, whether sexual or domestic or gang or anything. And when you go to Senegambia, the people there, they are focusing on orphans and widows and people who live with HIV, because orphans and widows are disenfranchised because of culture, because the property goes to the male. So on our side, we can talk about rights, and we can tell them about some of we address certain issues and so on. So we have started JPA Jamaica. But before we registered and incorporated our company in July 2023, we started to have meetings in Jamaica to kind of explain to people where we are coming from, our mindset, that we want to prepare the people for the fourth industrial revolution, which is upon us. COVID brought that out. There are a lot of persons who could not move around because they were not essential workers. They did not understand how to register in their business in the system so that they could be recognized. So many things. The use of the online portal, even though we are going back face to face, but now it's even going further. People need to understand about the blockchain and even the tokenization of agriculture, which we bring that knowledge as part of our international network of the JPA International and our partners in Thailand, in Dubai, and so on. We have those linkages. For example, we are pushing for agriculture. Right. We are pushing the tractor. There is a tractor, a long-handled walking tractor that is ideal for gentle slope and flat land, and does the work of 10 men. Yes, and it can it come with the attachments for seeding and so on. And we know how difficult it is for the farmer in Jamaica to get a tractor. You have to wait on ministry tractor, or you have to pay at least 8,000 per operation per acre. So if you're going to plow, a harrow, bed, that's 24,000 there with a walking tractor. Or if you're going to pay men to fork, and you may have to give them all food, cook a pot, and how many days it's going to take. With a walking tractor, you do the work of 10 men. So we want to introduce that, and we want to bring that to our members. As we were going around just trying to figure out what are some of the things, because we, JPA Jamaica, we are into building cultural bridges. So we want to build bridges between Jamaica and Africa, even in terms of sports. Miss Barbara Morgan in Mandeville, she has her Hype Kickers football academy. And already Uganda is saying, when are you coming? Nigeria wants to come. So JPA also looks at tourism. Yes.
And so just a pause on this one. We want to persons to understand that this football club, other continents in Africa are now wanting to do exchange programs with us and our young people. So it's an opening for our young people as well, and also for cross-cultural exchange.
Indeed, because we can learn languages.
Continue.
There are so many languages. There's so many languages that we can even learn, and we can be speaking to somebody who speak the language. We can have pen pals. There's so many things, because what it is, JPA is a membership organization. So our agenda is also what the members bring, because we can't. We yes, we want to go out there and say yes, we are here to solve all problems, but that's not really realistic, because we wouldn't have the resources to do that. But when people come together and they look at the issues,
Right.
and we align our issues to the sustainable development goals, so everybody can have a good future, and those are the humanitarian projects. So when we were speaking to
Yes.
people in Manchester about JPA,
Mhm.
castor oil came up, even though we were saying sunflower oil, because JPA internationally noticed
Before
that
we go,
sunflower.
Claudia, yeah, before we even go to the different breakdowns, we want persons to understand that part of JPA's vision is community development at different levels. So JPA stands for Jack Put a Hand, yeah, right?
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
put a hand. And it is simply saying, because with God, we are able to create a change. We're able to lift ourselves to become the greatness we were intended for. And
Mhm.
so we want persons to understand that it's a community development. And so we develop a nation by building individual communities with their own peculiarities. So we are not taking
Yes.
away from them or telling them what to do, but guiding what is
No.
already there. We are going to be using social wellness, sports,
Mhm.
agriculture, and different forms of agriculture to get there. So that brings us now to
Exactly.
talk about the castor oil, which is a passion of mine.
Yes. Right. And so I had to go and learn about castor oil, because the
Yes.
potential members were saying, "Hey, we've got a problem here with castor oil. We've been encouraged to plant castor oil, but what about the market? What about so on?" And when we started, I couldn't find all the information that we needed. But we did find some persons who were doing best practices, and we were able to start to put together our study and to create. We're going to be creating a
Mm-hmm.
cooperative for our castor oil people, because we already have the off takers. Internationally, Dr. Marlene has found off takers for all the castor oil. So, what we need to do now is on this side to structure things in a way that we can flow, because it cannot be haphazard. There are rules and regulations and things to be put in place, and standards in terms of cultivation, in terms of production, in terms of the moving it to the off takers and so on. There are so many things that needs to be put in place, um, for, because everything we do, it must be within the legal requirements. But we have learned so
Mm-hmm.
much about the Jamaican castor oil, that even in terms of its capacity, that it gives more oil than the Brazilian, the bigger one that is here as well. And what we bring also, so castor
Mm-hmm.
oil is one thing that we are focusing on, and a number of persons have been joining because they have that interest. And we will be working on that to get everybody to, because the off taker is there. So it is about, because one person who produces the oil said to me that his machine would need 200 acres of castor oil for him to produce all year. And right now, he came back to me today. We're going to have a discussion later to say he's thinking of getting the larger machine to be able to produce more volume. And there are other persons, some who are farmers and want to move on to producing. And there are persons who are also using the product for
Mm-hmm.
cosmetics and to make health products and other things. So the castor oil industry, there's so much that needs to be done. But I've been in my research, the standards were supposed to be sent out, so we haven't seen those standards yet. But in no
Mm-hmm.
time at all, people will be hearing about our Java Castor Oil Group, and we already have our off takers, and we'll be moving on that. But when it comes down to agriculture, we know that Jamaica have a good agriculture extension system, and very good people in our. We have the Jamaica Agriculture Society with branches all across the island. But what we need to do is get more young people interested back in farming,
And we
because
also have RADA as well.
and we have RADA. I'm coming. I have high
Mm-hmm.
affinity for for those agencies, because I also work as an extension officer. It was my first job up in the mountains of All's Delight, all the way up into David's Hills and those places,
Yes.
very mountainous. So, you have to cut your teeth, you have to walk the walk. And so I respect farmers. And even in my later years, now I went back and tried and planted corn and so on, but an onion and so on. But the link between the farm and the plate, teaching our children how to survive, whether it is backyard gardening, whether it is container gardening, whether it is on your rooftop, it is very important, as people saw during the lockdown, for us to be self-sufficient. And one of the technology that we have access to is called nanotechnology, where it's more like a computerized thing where each plant is a unit and you're not using soil. There's a special material, and they manipulate the environment, the air, and so on, and to get the best quality. And our off-takers who have that technology are willing, in terms of venture capital, and to off-take the goods that would be produced. They were even telling us that they have markers that they can put on the plant to make sure that they're tracked, so you can identify that this is genuine product coming from Jamaica. So when they get the castor oil, they will also mark it so people see it's tracked. So and then they have a way now of tokenizing using the nanotechnology. Then it sounds kind of complicated. Tokenize it, so agriculture and the digital world is merged. It's that kind of this is the kind of these are kind of conversations that JPAC can bring together and pull resources to develop, to help people to deal with their challenges. And every time when we have a community of members who have a challenge and we're addressing it and we put down what it is that we want to do, that is an individual intervention plan where we can have measurable things and we can see how we are moving along. So it doesn't have to be agriculture. It could be correctional reform, because we believe that reform right now should be about transformation. And within our team, because even though JPA is young, we started off by saying how long yourself and I have been working, and now to say how long Superintendent Elliott has been working, over 30 odd years in the system, training at the highest level in the correctional service. We have a retired correctional officer who believes in the transformational training and has been also through our training of social and life skills, where we try to bring everybody in terms of looking at your integrity, a better understanding of yourself and how you fit into your family and your environment, and how you balance yourself when you look at the environment, and how you can just be realistic and not be overcome by all of this negativity that you see around us in the press that's driving people crazy and fearful. And when you start to look and you realize that slowly, as people with goodness come together, we will overshadow the negativity. We will overshadow the negativity. Yes. And you started off, Doctor, by talking about children. Very important, because the children are the future of the society. We, the adults, have to socialize them so that they can become the best that they can be. And children have a lot of potential, and we have to nurture it. And one of the things we have to do is bless our children, bless our families, bless them, and speak the good that we want from them. Write down what we want from them and let them manifest their dream, not just what we want, but find out what they want and encourage them so that they can have what we call self-determinism, being able to make their own decisions. That means they won't go follow fashion. They won't be overcome by peer pressure. So what we want our members
And
to do. Go ahead.
yes, and one of the things we want persons to understand, in JPA, we have persons who are qualified. We are trained, and we have persons from different walks of life, different aspects, bringing everything together. One of our mandates, one of the things we intend to do, and we have already started to do, is apply the principles of life skills to ourselves and how we manage our own lives. And then we are passing it on to our children and our different ascendants as we move forward. And so, what we
Yes.
want to see happening as well is a creation of understanding within our people and our women, and understanding their
Mm-hmm.
power in transforming and equipping the next generation for what we want. So we have recognized that we have had a breakdown between our generation and this present generation that we have coming up behind us. Because yes, we decided that, and we know, and it's not a myth,
In,
that corporal punishment was really a learned behavior on the plantation, and we are moving away from that. The breakdown we have, though, was not replacing
Mhm.
it with proper life skill
Mhm.
processes of bringing up our children. And so these are some of the gaps that JPA intends to partner with our
Mhm.
different nationalities on the continent and here in Jamaica and other parts
Mhm.
of the Caribbean. And we must we must let persons know as well, Claudette, that parts of the USA is also on board with us.
Yes.
And so
Oh yes. And
we plan to
yes,
use
yes,
all of
indeed.
these platforms to educate and create transformation for the generation we have coming, so that our generation will understand
Yes.
who they are, as you have said before, and able to apply life
Mhm.
skills, principles to their own selves in order to
Yes.
not only lift them up to become their best selves, but reduction of crime and violence at every
Yes.
level. Because a lot of the
Every
crime and
level.
violence we have, a lot of times we blame it on poverty. Three-quarters of it
Mhm.
have nothing to do with poverty. It's our
Yeah.
inability to communicate and to deal with our challenges and our differences, and also anger, a
Mhm.
learned DNA anger that we are born
Mhm.
with and not
Oh
know
yes.
what to do with. And so part of what we
Sure.
intend to do is use our collective knowledge to
Mhm.
create and the platform for transformation for our nation and
Exactly.
other nations as well.
Exactly. Because
Yes.
we were
Yes.
taught to be slaves,
Yes.
but we
Continue,
were
dear.
not taught to be free. And we were not taught to be free.
No.
What apprenticeship was just extension
Mm-mm.
of slavery. And so the people have been traumatized. And we know.
Apprenticeship was paying our masters, our so-called masters, for our own flesh and blood.
So,
It was paying for
exactly.
chattel slavery. That's what apprenticeship was for.
Exactly. And so,
That's what
but
it was
that is
about.
a
It was
part of our
about
history,
teaching
and
us anything.
we learn from it. Okay. But when we look at society, and if we look at where Jamaica is coming from, before independence, we have had a lot of gains in health. We are one of the few countries in the
Hmm.
world to have gotten rid of bed bug. Jamaican people, we little and we
Yes.
tallow. Bed bug is the hardest thing to get rid of, and Jamaicans got rid of bed bug. Once upon a time, the Ministry of
We
Health,
still have a
they
few
used,
though.
they used to come into the homes. Well, I thought we had gotten rid of all of them. They must be coming back in because we did get rid of them. Because we have to be careful even with
Yeah, we
tourists who
did
travel.
get rid of it.
Hmm. Yes. So
Yes. Yes. As I
we have
remember, we were in
to.
public health school and we were learning about bed bugs. And one of the good things about as you have said, is we have a generation of people now who are asking, what is bed bug? And that's good.
Hmm.
They have no
That's
clue.
good.
That
That's
means
good.
we are living a better quality of life.
Well, we are. We
Yes.
are. But much more could be done.
Hmm.
Much more could be done because
Yes. We still have a
there
long
are
way to go.
we have a long way to go, and part of it has to be we can't blame government. We have to empower ourselves, which is where the life
Mhm.
skills come in.
Yep.
Teach you to be a better person, and then or we can empower our families and the community. You know, the things that we can do to make a difference. What you're doing to help the kids who need a break, the 187 students.
Hmm.
There is one young lady
Yes.
who is going to law school, and she is from an inner city. Our families um, are doing the best they can to survive.
Yes.
And she's working very hard. Um, there
And
are
we have to help them
gems
finish.
out there
Yes.
who need help. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have some bright children who just want a role model, somebody to say, good child. It can make a difference.
Just want
You
a
know,
modeler. So want a model
yes,
for them. Yes.
yes. We
A
can create safe
mentor.
spaces
Yes.
in our community where the children can come and they're learning
Mm-hmm.
something. You know, um, everybody's not going to go out there and do the legwork, but sometimes we can even contribute our ideas
No.
to the greater good. Because
Contribute
as
ideas.
humanitarians, we've
Yes.
been working in the field. I look back on the inner city, and I
Mm-hmm.
had to go back after I left Kingston 13 because I realized I'd missed a number of children. And that's why I'm talking about that young lady who is going to law school, because I missed her because she didn't give trouble.
Yes.
And when I
And
didn't
that's one
know
of the
in my
things. And I pause, Claudette, I wanted to pause on that for a moment. It is something I've been speaking of. We miss our children sometimes because we only look out for a certain demographic. So
mm-hmm,
we only cater to that demographic. And sometimes our children are the way they are because they want to be seen. Because if they don't behave
exactly
a certain way, we tend to overlook them.
overlook
And as
them.
part of our community transformation and part of what we do, we look for the children that are being missed in the
Our little
fabric of our
gem.
society.
I had to go back. First time I started thinking about it was when this
Yes.
young man, not a young man anymore, Aldin Belanfanti, he was doing the reform of education, so secondary education program. And he said that he doesn't work with a deficit model. And I started to look at it and I realized, oh my God, I am working with a deficit model
Mm-hmm.
because I'm focusing on all the children who are giving trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And they tell you that when you're working on behavior, you must focus on
Yes.
strength. So what are we strengthening? So
Yes.
I had to go back.
Because it
So
is
I
straight to
looked.
get into model.
Yes,
Yes.
and we already
Mm-hmm.
know that it is the children who are parenting because the parents have to go hustle. So we need those young children who are
Mm-hmm.
capable, who are parenting, are ready to get the skills, to rise them up. And after a while, we can change. If we focus on the youth, support the children, we can break the cycle.
Yes.
We can break the cycle because if you look at the
Amen.
cycle of life,
Amen.
we're going to get older.
But that's the
And that
only
is
way we are going to break the cycle. That's the only way we are going to break the cycle. It starts with our children from in the womb and capture them from in the womb and right up to their 18. And
yes.
if we miss them, we have to go back and re-educate
Mhm.
them because after seven
Exactly.
years old, we have to really do re-education. And if we don't
Exactly.
get with it by their 15, 16, we're losing them. We are
My
losing them.
daughter-in-law
We
had
are
a program
losing them.
called, yes, Connect with Your Baby. And I took her into the inner
Mm-hmm.
city where she'd sit with the mothers and she'd talk to them about how to stimulate their babies, to encourage brain development and so on. And she went back in after that
Mm-hmm.
and she did a follow-up. We have been in the trenches and we know that parenting, education, and those things work. That
Yes.
supporting, and you said listening.
Yes, it
Sometimes just
works.
listening, giving a helping, just
Yes,
a
you
listening
always
ear.
hear me vouch that for listen, listen. Yes,
But
that is
we
very
come
important
now.
for me. It don't make sense to go to the community and just talk, talk, talk. We need to listen and look.
Exactly. And we are here there to build community capacity. So we look in there, and as a community
Mm,
social worker, I'm looking for social capital. You, as a wellness motion practitioner and a psychologist, you are looking at how they are introspecting, how they are linking so many different things. We approach it all from
interacting, all
different
that.
angles,
Mm-hmm,
and we come
mm-hmm,
together to give that picture, and we put people from outside also in
mm-hmm,
to help to enhance, because we realize it's a structured approach
mm-hmm.
that's the way to have to do it. For example, we do have a structure for
One
community
community at a time.
development, the CDC, getting people into your community based organizations, getting them active
Yes.
in their CDCs, Then they go on the next level
in,
and become active in their
in the
DAC,
neighborhood watch
and then the neighborhood watches and so on, and they go
group.
up until the people
Yes,
who can have a say in what is happening. You
PDC.
can go to the parish council, and you can be seated there and representing the community and the community interest, and it's not political. You can build capacity. The SDC
It's true.
can
And
do
you know,
so
one of
much
the things, I yes, it's Social Development Commission has, but I know more if without
and
us.
no more, because there is a certain amount of understanding of the process that needs to come from the community to drive the SDC. So if the community has the ideas, the SDC will fall in and do what the community wants to do, but they can't come and do it for the community. And that is why we have to intervene
No.
and
Mm-hmm.
help people
Mm-hmm.
to create their intervention, build up their capacity, make the changes in not just their lives, but the lives of their family and their community, making our
Yes. And
community
so
more prosperous.
as we are coming down to our close off time, Claudette, I want us to tell persons now, JPA is here, we are about transformation. Tell persons how they can become involved with us, how they can
Okay.
partner with us for our cultural programs, our community programs, and other programs that are coming up, and also to come and give us ideas of what else we can do.
Okay. So right now we've started our registration process. So we have a
Mm-hmm.
pre-registration link that we are sending out. So people who have an interest, we will know who you are and we'll bring you together. JPA, as I say, it's a membership organization and there's a membership fee. The membership fee is a Jamaican equivalent of 50 US
Mm-hmm.
dollars. It's cheaper than the other countries. It's 60 in Nigeria and those places. But Dr.
Yes.
Asha, myself, and the team, we
We
advocated
and let
for,
them know we did advocate and lobby to keep it
yes,
at 50.
at $50 for Jamaicans. And
Yes.
so it's fifty
And so one
dollars.
person
So
to know you want to be a part of JPO, reach out to us and we will send you the
mhm.
links. We'll show you how to guide you in how to become a part of it. So you want to be a part of it. My number 876-870-2284. I am for this for the county of Cornwall, right, Claudette? So I'm in charge of
Yes,
all
you
the
are in
parishes
charge of Cornwall.
down this side. But Auntie
Yes.
Claudette will also right. So
Yes. So
Auntie
my
Claudette will give
number.
you the general number for if you want to reach out to us. Yes.
Okay. So that would
Go
be
ahead,
eight
Auntie
seven
Claudette.
six 876 five four
Mm-hmm.
five 4591. So you can
Tell them
either
again.
Dr. Asha or myself, 876 545 4591. 876 545 four five
Yes.
nine one. If we have stirred you tonight to think about how you can make a difference in your community, you're a JPA member. If
Yes.
you are for integrity and
Yes.
honesty,
As long as you have caught the vision to help to build the nation that you want to live in, reach out to us. Thank you, Auntie
yes,
Claudette, for joining us this evening. Having you on was a pleasure. You have opened our eyes. And of course, the conversation is just starting. We have been doing the groundwork, we have been preparing, and we'll be telling persons more as we go along. So we're asking you, come along with us. Help us to be a part of the solution. We
yes.
are not the kind of people that want to sit on our verandas under the moonlight and complain. We want to sit under the
No,
moonlight on our verandas, want to sit under our almond trees and our coconut tree. No, we're not going to no coconut tree because that may drop in our head. But we want to sit under our trees and talk about changing the face of our nation and how we
exactly.
can do what needs to be done. Auntie Claudia, thank you for joining us this evening as we move
It,
forward from Healing Moments. I want to remind my
thank
listeners
you.
this evening, it doesn't matter what you are going through. You were created special. You were created blessed. You were created as part of the solution. Yes, You are part of the answer. You were not created to bear burdens, but burdens will come. You are created to find solutions, and whatever it is, the answer you are seeking is within you. If you don't know what else to do, reach out to Healing Moments. We are here. Reach out to Fit FM 96.7, where we give you music to transform your life. We give you educational programs. You can't be left out. And of course, come talk to us because the entire diaspora will hear you. The Windrush movement over there in London, from Fresh FM, will also hear your story and share your glory. If you're listening to Healing Moments on Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music, and so you can hear us on fitfmja.com as well. So you can't be left out. Be a part of the story, be a part of the solution. It's goodbye from Healing Moments this evening. We'll do it all over again for you next week when I have another awesome guest lineup. Bye bye.
This is Fit
It is
FM
96.7.
96.7.
Duncan Streloni.
Duncan Streloni.